only found this commercial. Up until then, the last time I had seen this commercial, I saw this commercial only one time. It was back in 1985. I was in the 6th grade. And it made an impression on me. It caught my attention because... Well, just watch the commercial. I'll show you.
We sell more breakfast biscuits than anyone. With that homemade cake. No one can take our place. We're Hardee, oh yeah. We sell more breakfast biscuits than anyone. With rise and shine, made from scratch, oh so fine. We're Hardee.
That woman right there. When I saw her, she made me think of Lisa Peace. I was kind of enamored with Lisa Peace. Now why? Why does this woman remind me of Lisa Peace? Who was Lisa Peace? Lisa, capital Piece. Okay, I was in the 6th grade. My Uncle Mark came over to visit. And my dad and Uncle Mark decided to go to the mall. To the video arcade to take 10. I was so excited. I went with him. I'm not sure. Jamie, me and my brother Jamie went with him. Went with them. I was excited because I was going to play some video games. When we got there, and we went separate video games, and I dropped a quarter in the slot of the video game Galaga, and it didn't take. Hey,
you've got to find out.
I think they're socks.
Where are they?
In the dirty brush.
Well, and your shoes, sniff them, and then. After I start my watch, I need you, or you won't have anything to sleep in.
Okay, I will.
Pillowcases.
Okay. Well, agitated, I went up to the place where the attendant was, and I saw it was a good-looking blonde woman. That video game took my quarter, wouldn't give me a game. She's like, hold on, just hold on. I'll get it back to you. And she looked good. And she came out from behind the door, took the key, opened the Galaga, and she said, I'm going to give you 2 quarters because I want to see if you can beat the high score. That made an impression on me. Here this was, this good-looking blonde woman giving me a free game. So I played. I beat the high score. I was happy because I went back up there and told her I beat the high score. And I started talking to her. I guess I wanted her to be my friend because she was good looking. I wanted her to think highly of me. Think I was like me. Back then I didn't care about being seen as good looking. I had not yet turned into that. Back then I wanted the good looking girl to love me, to admire me. I like who I am better now than what I was then. And I started talking to her about my war with the Yellow Jackets. Why? Which stands for Yellow Jackets, in the same way that V stood for Visitors for the miniseries back then in the 80s. I was heavily influenced and profoundly affected by V. I loved the V, so I had a 7-day war with the nest of Yellow Jackets, and that was how I got my self-esteem, because I was able to defeat the nest and gain victory over them. So I started telling her a story. I'm like, I can tell you more stories about this. If I just have his phone number. She's like, but I was pretty much high. Then not on drugs. I was feeling pumped up. So I found my dad and Uncle Mark. They were looking at somebody playing the game Punch Out. Because they were they were fighters. And they like this game. They like. And finally, it was time to leave, and we went. Got in the car. I saw Dad put his can of beer underneath the tire, and before he put the car in reverse, he said, "I wanted to hear if you hear something." Crunch. I laughed because I was already feeling good about having this good-looking woman, and I forgot how I found her number, but I looked in the phone book for peace, for every name Piece. I finally found out number of where she lived. Sometimes I would call to take 10 to talk to her. But I came in one day, and Dad said, "Chris, do you know Elisa?" Uncle Mark was there. Again. It was a Saturday. I'm like, Elisa? I thought he was talking about Alicia Hill. That I didn't think he said person named Lisa. I thought he said, "Do you know Elisa?" I didn't hear the word named Lisa. I heard Elisa is one word, one name. I could only think of Alicia Hill. Well, Dad said, "Well, she called." Oh, then I remember who that was. But I didn't want to tell Daddy about that because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed for anybody to know that I was into the good-looking girls, and I wanted to be friends with the good-looking girls. I was embarrassed. I put up a smoke screen. I see a good-looking girl on TV, and I would say, "That girl's ugly." So good smoke screen I put up. That mom even asked me that one day, "Chris." She was afraid I was turning gay. She's like, "Chris, you do know girls, don't you?" I had to admit it. Anthony, I damn sure do not want to be thought of as gay. Nasty. Laugh out loud. Well, I was cooking some sorghum burner soup on the stove, and the phone rang, and they gave it to me, and it was Lisa. She said, "Hey, what do you want to talk about?" But because everyone's within the kitchen, I didn't want anybody to hear my conversation. I'm like, "Can I call you back later?" So, but after that, I tried to call, and I was told by her roommate that she was. Where I called one time, she was working at her other job at the factory. I could never get in touch with her. One day I was sick from school, so I stayed home. When I was alone, because my mom and dad, my mom was working at the hospital, and my dad went somewhere to do an errand, so I called her, and my roommate was like, "What you doing calling at quarter of 9? Aren't you supposed to be in school?" I'm like, "No, I'm sick today." Finally, the closest I came to get her on the phone again was I called her, and it was her husband. He's like, "Why do you want to speak to my wife?" I was trying my best, but he would not put her on the phone. But she was there. Because I asked her, "Is Lisa there?" He's like, "Yeah." "Can I speak to her?" "Who's calling?" "My name is Chris Clavin." Why do you want to speak to my wife?" And finally, I gave up. But that was not the end of the story. One night, after Mom had got home from work and Dad was at work at the post office, we got a call from Lisa's roommate, and Lisa Peace called and had a conversation with my mom. Oh, I was embarrassed and I was afraid. Mom was livid. I was so embarrassed about her thinking that I wanted to be a friend with a girl, so I told her, like, my classmate, I left my number, I had a number, I left the number at school. I think my classmate Johnny Wilson took it. And mom bought it, like, so because your classmate slandered your name, you're in this trouble. And Dad told me when he got home, Chris, get rid of that number. Don't call her again. Anyways, this girl, Lisa Peace. At the time, I was still trying to call her on the phone before, the shit hit the fan. I was watching this commercial right here. I was feeling good. And then I was watching this commercial, and it got this one right here. And it reminded me of Lisa Peace. I thought, that looks like Lisa Peace. And I just knew I had to call her and talk to her. Yeah, Mom. When Lisa Peace herself spoke to my mom and said, I kept calling, and her roommate was always there to answer the phone. But when I first spoke to Lisa, Mom was like, you talked to her about yellow jackets? Chris, why are you always talking about yellow jackets and bugs and insects? That exasperated her. That immaturity on my part. But that's the story of Lisa Peace and the Take 10 Video Arcade. So what you got to say about me now? If only I was a good looking guy. If only I was not so goddamn fat and not so goddamn old looking, I'd be so happy. If only I had those longer forms. After this all went down, I was forbidden to go to the Take 10 Video Arcade in the mall. Every time I was asked to go. It was a Saturday night when all this happened at the video arcade, when I met Lisa Peace. It was a Saturday night. I forgot to mention that. So when I was allowed to go to the video arcade, it was a Saturday night. I was hoping Lisa Peace would be there. Hoping. But I never saw her again working at the Take 10. Other than that one time I saw her when I first saw her. She didn't work there anymore. Even though I tried to call the Take 10 many times, a few times, she was never there. I remember, I think it was Cliff, he was the manager. He's like, no, she's not here. He was kind of snarky. But anyways, I was forbidden for quite some time for going to the video arcade. Well, whenever they'd go to the mall, I tried to sneakily ask Mom, can I go to the mall to play the Take 10? She's like, no. I'm like, why? Because of that girl. What you did to that girl. So, that's the story.
Me, but instead you stood above, you spit me out, you kick me down. I hate you, never love me. They said to kill my soul, they ripped my heart from my chest, left me to rot in the grave. Should've known I'd never stay very deep underneath. Speak on silence me, now watch me rise. 'Cause I'm in a dead night, take back the one, give them a ride. Let me punch my face, let me punch my face. Let me
My memory is starting to clear up. I got more clarity of memory. What happened? Some things I forgot, details I forgot to mention. When Mom was on the phone, my roommate, Lisa's Peace's roommate, maybe it was her husband. I think it was called Mom, and then I heard Mom on the phone. Am I talking to Lisa? And then Lisa herself got on the phone. I was 12 years old. Lisa Peace was 24 years old. So she was twice my age. And when I was talking to her at the Take 10, I asked her for her name and her last name. When I asked her, I'm trying to remember, either it was when I asked her phone number or I asked her last name, she did this. She didn't want to tell me her last name, I think. But the way I found her last name, I called Take 10 and asked, is Lisa there? And the answer I got, which Lisa? There are two Lisas here. The Lisa with blonde hair. Oh, that Lisa. Lisa Peace. Yeah. No, she's not here. So that's how I found out her last name. And how I found out her number. Oh, I remember that. I remember now. I was looking up Peace, Piece, in the phone book. Everybody that had the last name of Peace, I would call. Is Lisa Peace there? Finally, I got a hold of, I think her mom, and her mom. I said, told her mom. She's like, no, this is Lisa's Peace, Mom. I'm like, the reason I want to talk to Lisa's, she worked at the Take 10 Video Arcade, and she gave me an extra quarter, extra game with Galvin, and her mom said, you just want to talk to her. You just want to talk to her, right? You know, like, I was so thankful, I just had to call her and talk to her. I'm like, yes. So she gave me Lisa Peace's number. And that's how I got Lisa Peace's number. But when my mom found out that night, I remember she was Windexing and cleaning the blinds. I was watching her as she did that. She was livid. Now I was both scared and embarrassed because I did not want her to think, I was embarrassed that because she was a girl, I was a guy. Back then, the worst thing that could have happened to me was people find out, if anybody found out that I liked the girls, that I noticed the girls. That was so embarrassing. Because I guess it goes back to, oh, Chris is in love. Oh, Chris is, look at Chris. He's known as that good, pretty girl. Look at Chris. And I did not want to endure the self-consciousness I feel. I was razzed because I like the girls. Hell no. So I put up a damn good front. Calling girls ugly. Denying. Mom, there was a little girl on the cereal commercial. Do you think that little girl is cute, Mom? Asked. I'm like, no. It went too so far. One time there was a sandwich commercial, and there was a girl who had just been a little girl who had just been to the dance, and she came back, and it was a great time. And I'm like, that little girl is ugly. And Mom was like, Chris, I want you to stop. And Dad said, no, she's a darling little girl. And like I said, Mom, when I was alone with her, Chris, you do know this girl, don't you? You're not gay, are you? I'm like, so I had no choice but to admit it then. Now, I love the girls. I'm not afraid to admit it. And if people don't like it, I don't give a good god, fuck, shit, goddamn twat. And if I don't look good to the topmost girls, I'm gonna get some goddamn cosmetic surgery. I was so good at hiding from my peers the fact that I liked the girls. It's called the game of uproar in psychiatry, where one denies to themselves and others their feelings of mutual attraction. The shit. It's called the game of uproar, where a person denies to others and themselves the feelings of attraction to the opposite sex. So good was I was so good at playing this game that the year after, my 7th grade year, Lawrence Cottle wrote in the paper, I believe Chris is a fag because he does not like the girls. Once I slipped up, we were talking in class. I'm like, I wish it was like last year when we can play soft. Cause we missed the trick. We played softball with him, and he had some blacked out way of playing. 1 out instead of 3 outs. You got 1 out. You went to the outfield. Sometimes it got so blacked out there was not enough clarity that if you're a right-handed batter and hit it into the left field, you're out. 1 strike was no shit. 1 strike was 1 out. You got 3 out. You got your 3 outs. Yeah, I remember. You got your 3 outs, but 1 strike was in. It didn't matter if it was a foul. You struck. You got a strike, or you fouled. You were out. But I spoke up and said, I wish we could do that we did last year when we could play softball and the girls could play softball with us. And Johnny said, so you do notice the girls. Oh, I had to do damage control. I'm like, no, I just liked it because it was, I forgot the reason I gave. But by the time I was in I'm trying to remember, 11th grade, I began to crack and admit that I like the girls. And yes, I love the girls. I'm a guy, for fuck's sake. Crucify me for being the guy. I make no apologies, no regrets, no fucking repentance. Do you get the fucking picture?